Today we are going to be talking about 4 things that you can do right now, today, if you are completely overwhelmed by your home. Okay, so the first thing that I want you to know is in my program, in the Freedom Moms program, I have something called Proactive Survival Mode. Now, Proactive Survival Mode is all about helping you as the mom feel like you are back in control of a situation that may feel completely out of control. So if you have a super busy schedule, or maybe you've just had a baby, or maybe you're at the end of pregnancy, or maybe you're at the beginning of pregnancy and you're feeling really bad all the time. Anytime where you just feel like everything is kind of crazy and out of control, that is when you want to reach for proactive survival mode as your default mechanism. Let me tell you what proactive survival mode involves. So step number 1, make sure that you get a shower every day. I know that it probably seems like the silliest thing, and maybe you think, well, I don't have time for a shower, but you really do. Basic hygiene is really important, not just for your body's sake, but also it gives you a mental boost. You will feel so much better after you've had a shower and brushed your teeth and brushed your hair. It's just one of those things that the rewards are exponential. So get your shower in. No matter what, get your shower in. Number 2, you need to have at least enough clothes for everyone to wear. So this is going to be different for each person. In my house, it means getting a load of laundry done every day. But for people who have less children than me, or whose kids have a lot more clothes than mine do, it's not necessary. It is not necessary to run a load a day. Whatever the amount of laundry is that you need to run each week to make sure that everybody has the clothes that they need to get through the day, that's what you want to make sure that you're doing, so that no one's ever running around without any clean underwear or clean socks. That as a mom sometimes can make us feel like we are just really losing at life. And so the basic idea here is that we want to avoid that. We want to feel like we are on top enough of the laundry that everybody has what they need for the next day. Okay, so shower, laundry, and the third thing is meal planning. Now, I don't always meal plan in the traditional way, which is to meal plan for the whole week or for 2 weeks or for even a month. That's a great goal, and sometimes I'm able to hit it. But if I can just make sure that I know what I'm going to serve for dinner by 10:30 in the morning, I am being proactive. Now, that could mean at 10:30 in the morning, I say, well, we're having a really busy day today, and I'm not gonna have time for cooking, so I'm going to order pizza. That's still meal planning, and it's still being proactive. You're making that conscious decision at 10:30 in the morning instead of at 6:30. Do you see the difference there? So it makes me feel like I'm winning. The whole thing here is to make mom feel a little bit more capable and competent, and then that kind of bleeds out into other areas of the home as well. So that's survival mode in a nutshell. Getting your shower in every day so that you feel human, making sure that you have enough laundry done that everyone has something to wear for the next day. And number 3, just knowing what you're going to be serving your family for dinner by 10:30 in the morning. So that's step 1. That's tip 1 is survival mode. Okay, now step number 2, as long as you still feel like you have bandwidth after you've taken care of all of your survival mode things, number 3 is to make a short to-do list for your home. Now, I used to be one of those people that would make like a to-do list that was 50 items long. That's not what you want to do. I always start my to-do list with 3 things. And it can be any 3 things, but I like to keep them small because that is doable. Because here's the thing, even if I can get more than 3 things done, let's say that I write a list of 12 things and I get 6 of them done. That's great, right? It's half the list. But what I personally see when I see 6 out of 12 items done is I see 50% of the things that still didn't get done. And that makes me feel kind of bad. Like, what's wrong with you? Why couldn't you get all of those things done? So what I like to do is I like to start with a small list, a list of 3 things. And then if I get all 3 of those things knocked out, I'll add 1 or 2 things to the list, and I'll keep adding as I go so that I still feel like I am getting it done and I am winning in my home. That's really the goal here, especially when you're feeling super overwhelmed. The goal is to make you feel like you're winning again. It's super important, and the best way to do that is to keep your to-do list small and only add more things to it as you are able to, mark off a section of it. My third tip for you is something that I like to call tiny tasks. Now, a tiny task is a very small task that takes 2 to 3 minutes or less. Usually it is a much larger job that has been broken up into 2 to 3 minute segments. Because I don't know about you, but in my life personally, I have many times throughout my day where I have 2 to 3 minutes of time. Now, normally, before I thought of the tiny task method, I would just pick up my phone and scroll through Twitter or through Instagram. And essentially that 2 to 3 minutes ended up being wasted. I am far enough along in my journey now to say that unequivocally social media time kind of is a waste. But now, instead of doing that, now sometimes I do still grab my phone, but a lot of times what I'll do is I'll grab a wet rag and I'll tackle a tiny task. A lot of times those tasks are in my kitchen. I can spend 2 to 3 minutes wiping a cabinet door, or wiping a few cabinet doors, or even just wiping off the countertop if it's already cleared off. You would be surprised at how quickly you can clean your microwave. A lot of times for me, it's under 3 minutes, so that's a tiny task for me. Another example of a tiny task would be cleaning one shelf of my refrigerator. If I don't have time to do the whole refrigerator, or if the thought of doing the whole refrigerator makes me feel like just locking myself in my room and never coming out again, which sometimes it does, I can make myself do one shelf, whereas, the idea of doing the whole refrigerator is just too overwhelming. So it's basically a job that will just take you 2 to 3 minutes. Tiny tasks are the way forward if you are really stuck and having trouble making yourself do a job, or if you're just feeling really overwhelmed, because the beauty of them is they add up over time. Before you know it, you've got a really clean kitchen because you've been tiny tasking in that kitchen for the last few days. Once your kitchen is completely tiny tasked and everything is really clean, it'll be dirty again, like in a few weeks. So you're gonna have to repeat the process, but you can always branch out. I always tiny task my washing my windows, cleaning baseboards, doing dusting like on the bookshelves and things like that. Just little tiny bits of time that I would otherwise be spending probably wasted on my phone. Okay, the fourth tip that I have for you today is to get your children doing chores. Now, I know it's easier said than done. I totally get it, which is why I created a whole course on how to get your kids doing chores. But the thing that everybody really needs to understand is that children really need to learn how to do chores when they are younger. There is a study done by Harvard that spanned, I think it was 20 years, where they followed, families, and the children that ended up as the most successful adults, and that's successful educationally, financially, and relationally. Those children, the one thing that they had in common was that their parents made them do chores when they were younger. So think of it as really the best enrichment activity you could ever have your children involved in, and it's free. And it helps out the household. So there are many reasons to have your children doing chores, but one of them is, if you, mom, are trying to get everything done yourself with no help from anyone else, it's kind of like you're fighting a losing battle almost. Now, I homeschool, so my kids are literally home basically all the time. So it really would be a losing battle for me. It would be, I think I saw a meme on Instagram once where someone talked about cleaning your house when you have young children is like trying to brush your teeth while you're eating Oreos. And that could be true if your kids are only making mess and never actually helping to clean the mess, but that's exactly why you have your children helping to clean up. So I would really recommend that even if you've tried many times to get your children doing chores again, just start with one chore. Start from one chore. Once everyone has mastered their one chore, add another to the list. Start slow, build on that, but get them doing chores. There's no reason why they should just be sitting around making messes and mom is losing her mind trying to clean them all up. So if you need extra help, of course, I do have my Smart Kids Chore System, and you're welcome to check that out. I would love to have you in there. Feel free to ask me any questions you have in the comments. Taking care of the home management, that's kind of one of my favorite things to talk about. So I have plenty that I'm willing to share with everybody, but those were the top 4 things that whenever I'm feeling overwhelmed, which I kind of have been feeling overwhelmed the past few weeks, whenever I'm feeling overwhelmed, that is what I go, it's kind of back to the basics. Like, okay, things are getting a little bit hairy here. Let's scale back a little bit, focus on these things, move forward, and before you know it, the house is clean again and everything is running smoothly. And then you can start to add in a little bit of the more complicated home management aspects. But when we're all in that stage of life, or if we're having a week that's just incredibly busy, we need a system to fall back on, and this is mine. This is what I use with 10 kids in the home. So if it works for me, it can work for you too. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you in the next